Yo, what's up? It's your boy DJ Elf7. That's right, I got another episode. This is a special episode now. This guy right here, I'm a fan of. I actually featured him, just in one of my hottest videos, the MPP scam video. Yeah, like he's the guy that I tweet. Yeah, he's Slick Rick. He's the guy right there, ckyRants, because I've been looking for activists here in New York City. You know what I mean? And this guy is one of them. So, we are just too short-handed. And I see him at the right things. And he's really kept a hand out. A lot of other people closed the door on me for all kinds of reasons, but Ricky has kept the door open, and I really appreciate that. And that means we can move forward. And I agree with him on a lot of positions. Some of the positions I don't, but we're going to find out more about him because I am very interested to. I have a feeling that's just from the things that I see already. I have a feeling that if you want to be, you could really be one of the defining people in this field. You know what I mean? Definitely in terms of holding down New York. There's really so few people. So thank you so much for your work. But let's find out a little bit more about you. So my channel is really dedicated toward activism. What's your activist background?
My activist background, I'm just someone who, really got radicalized probably in 2015, 2016 when Bernie was becoming really popular. And I saw all these important policies finally getting pressed that had been kind of, put away for a long time. So I was out there at a lot of his rallies, and I started, just getting more into politics at that time because I was kind of just, doing my thing, surviving in New York, making ends meet and stuff like that. But it was around that time where I started to get more political, and it's just been getting more and more and more since around that time.
Okay, one of the questions is, one of the things I like to study different movements and motivations for why people do things and really get to understand who are the high performers, stuff like that, right? So the thing is that when we look at Bernie Sanders, right, one of the things that they said about the campaign back in 2016 was a lot of people got activated when they saw what government could really do, right? They didn't believe in government until Bernie Sanders got in. Then all of a sudden, right, they said it was like night and day. They saw all these programs. They saw government starting to actually work. You know what I mean? But it sounds to me from what you said so far that you didn't really get to see government actually working ever. Have you ever been involved with government or any way, like, interacted with? No?
No, I always kind of steered clear of government because I always thought it was a dead end for people like me. People get voted into office, and then it's the same old, same old. That's always what it felt like to me. And I was one of those people who was like, yeah, I'll vote for Obama. He sounds like the right thing at the time. He said all the right things, and he was a nobody, so we didn't know who he was really. And then he got in, and it was a huge disappointment. And I was like, well, this is why we don't participate, because we voted in people like Obama, and they let us down.
Some of the things were okay, right? But then, he definitely let us down in like the Wall Street thing. That was pretty bad, and the bombing was pretty sad. But there were a couple of good things about it. You know what I mean? I do try to keep a full perspective on it, but I feel what you're saying. I do feel disappointed, right? Yeah, I also share that. So the thing is that, right? What gives you the you definitely stand out to me because you're one of the few people that actually gets in there and grapples with the issues, right? What gives you this drive to make change happen?
I'm just tired of seeing people suffer, to be honest. Like it's getting to be ridiculous at this point, and we're so conditioned to just excuse it, and I'm just tired of the excuses. It's just too much at this point.
Do you work with any other groups, like humanitarian groups or things like that? Because if empathy is really your main driver, then it would make sense that you would have maybe some experience in other fields. Because I work regularly with Salvation Army. I have stuff like that. And that goes back years and years. Yeah. Other like Bowery Mission, stuff like that. But maybe you're kind of like newer to getting involved, but it seems like you're very hands-on. Yeah, I'm very excited about that.
I mean, yeah, I donate to things. I show up to events. I show up to protests. I was literally just at a George Floyd protest 5 minutes ago. I just walked in the door. So
next time, holler at me, man. Bring me along, man. They offer me. Yeah.
I mean, I
it could
do
be a
a lot
date.
of
Yeah.
There's so many of these things popping up left and right, so I just kind of go to the ones I can on the fly. But I've protested George Floyd. I protested for Medicare for All, as you know. I protested for Julian Assange. And other smaller things here and there. I'll show up, if there's something going on at the UN, sometimes I'll pop over there since, there's always something going on. And I'm just getting more and more political. I'm, trying to get some footage of stuff, trying to share it with people because a lot of people don't even know some of this stuff is going on. It's crazy what happens in this country or in the world, and people just have no clue whatsoever because if mainstream media isn't pushing it, they don't know about it, right? So I'm just trying to be one of the people out there making sure, every voice is heard. And
Yeah, I'm even skeptical of the mainstream progressive media. That's what I call them. You know what I mean? But the mainstream media is definitely bad. You know what I mean? Definitely bad. So the thing is, what do you think allows you to recognize these problems, whereas other people do not? Why are you able to see through the mainstream media, whereas a lot of our people are just willing to accept that?
I think it's just so convenient to accept whatever the mainstream media pushes out. Uh, I think once you really do some digging into the history of this country, into the history of the events of, there's a lot of psychological operations. There's a lot of things that were told a different way on TV than they
Yeah,
actually. You've been to a
I
lot of
do. I
these
do.
things that
Yeah.
happened in real life, and then
Uh,
you turn on the TV and you're like, wait, that's not what it was.
is
That
your
happens
background yeah?
all the time.
Is your background Irish or anything like that? Maybe.
I'm Scottish, probably Irish heritage, but
Okay,
I don't
because
really
one of the
know.
things that they say is that people who live in occupied nations are more likely to remember history and be more skeptical of the status quo. But people, who are like, Americans who are like, eating off of it, or like maybe like England, yeah, they don't really pay attention to the problem because it's not really self-fulfilling for them to really examine that, right? But when there's
That's
yeah,
interesting because I have Scottish roots, and the Scottish were definitely oppressed.
yeah.
I don't come from Scotland, so that's not my fight.
Maybe when you were growing up though, maybe like some of your uncles had discussions and it just tuned you on to like maybe being more aware. I don't know, maybe not.
I don't know. My parents did both grow up poor, so that, and they're very like, they're middle class now. My dad worked his way up, but they come from very poor families. So I know these stories. My mom used to pick cotton as a kid and hurt until her hands bled, that kind of stuff. So like, that is when I hear these poor people stories, I'm like, damn, I can at least I didn't grow up like they did necessarily, but when I hear the stories, I'm like, I can't even imagine. So
Okay,
at least I can commiserate. Where some people just they
no
have no
doubt,
idea.
no
They have
doubt.
no idea.
I think that recently you've done some organizational work. You actually joined the New York branch of MPP. Am I correct?
I was working with NPP. I was volunteering with NPP. That is an organization,
Are there
yes.
any of the organizations that you've worked with over time?
NPP was one that I was willing to give a shot because a lot of these organizations, like as you know, like they just seem like offshoots of a political party, or they seem to be a controlled opposition or controlled in some way. Finances are controlled, so they can only do so much. And I'm not trying to join some organization, put in my hours, put in my time, put in my energy, put in my money. Some of these ask for money, like some of them are dues-based memberships, and just sit there and write letters to Congress people. I can do that shit at home, and it doesn't get shit done. You know. So that's how I feel about a lot of these organizations. They sit here and give you busy work, and it almost seems like some of them are for real. Maybe I don't know. I'm not part of. There's tons of organizations. There's too many to even count. But like some of these just seem like controlled opposition, like stuff to
I
give.
agree. I agree.
They
Yeah,
give you stuff
it's
to keep
definitely
you busy
going
so
on.
you're not out in the streets actually,
Yeah,
making things happen.
it's going on.
That's
It's sad to see the MPP current leadership actually using their knowledge of controlled opposition for bad. You could see them setting up islandists like in the meetings and stuff. You know what I mean? They know what's going on and they're using it in the bad way.
Well,
That's
I
real.
just
Yeah.
don't get it. I don't know what their end game is. I don't know what kind of grift this is.
I've been, just so you know, I've been part of um I'm older than I look. You might be older than you look. Yeah, I'm actually 45. And the thing is that I've been part of been part of third party movements since my 20s. So I've been really fighting that, and I'm really aware of different. It sounds like you've been part of different organizations too, because you talk about some of them being dues based. I've interacted with many organizations, many different socialist organizations, many different non-socialist organizations, trying to make things happen. You know, what I mean, I just mentioned socialist thing because it's just a hot topic now, and also Green Party has a strong affiliation with socialism from its original start, right? Because I was in the Green Party for over 20 years because I recognized the problems with the Green Party way back then. So I may be able to help you, with some of my experience to, and I'm sure you have things to contribute as well. I've been super impressed by you. Yeah. One of the things that I see that with a lot of protests is, and one reason why I kind of like stopped doing as much protests, like maybe about like 10, 15 years ago, was because I saw that it needed to progress to the end. It needed to actually make the change happen. It's not enough to voice your concern because it just kind of happens and goes away. So do you have a strategy for like, getting to the end goal, or, making, yeah.
I'm kind of learning as I go. That's kind of how I've approached everything. I have seen there is consistency with the BLM movement this time around. It kind of disappeared under Obama. This one has been going on. I know like some of these protests have been much smaller. The summer was much bigger.
Okay.
But the protest I just came from, because the trial has come,
Right.
Derek Chauvin's trial has come around. There was probably 1,000 people there tonight, and I really think, like, if we're really gonna do this thing, we have to keep doing these kind of events and keep doing them consistently. And there are people that have been to dozens, if not 100 of these events out there. So
I have to admit, like, the George Floyd thing, I didn't find out as much about it, which is actually affecting my relationship a little bit with Autumn Sword. He says some new hot information is coming out. He's a little, yeah, go ahead.
I mean, you had an interview with him, and he never got to the point. I was wondering.
Yeah,
like,
it's a little, he could be controlled opposition. He might even be CIA. You know what I mean? Anything's possible in this game. You cannot trust anything. How many millions of dollars do the people in charge have at stake? When I first came into the game, I thought that, these good ideas could just be put into place. And I thought that, it sounds like a great idea. Why can't these things go through? As I have been more and more like doing stuff, right, I have found that, you cannot redirect the pathway of millions of dollars without encountering real serious resistance. Yeah.
Yeah.
These people go all the way with it. If you're like, Google or, whatever, you making hundreds of times, right, what someone like you makes, you know what I mean? Anything that they could dream of, like sending people out to check out our organization, you think that's not happening? That's exactly what the fuck is happening. You get what I mean? So we gotta like see the ones who's real about it and not let anybody break us. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And that's one reason why I haven't really joined that many organizations. I did volunteer with NPP for a while because it was still new, and I was like getting in early enough where I could kind of check things out and see what's happening. And that didn't really work out for me. That's why I haven't joined DSA. I haven't joined most of these organizations because from an outsider's perspective, I'm like, this seems controlled already, and I'm sure it's not going to be what I want. So I kind of just bounce from thing to thing. I kind of like, marching to the beat of my own drum and figuring out, what my thing is. I am organizing for an event in DC this summer, and we can talk about that if you want.
Yeah, hell yeah. That's why I love you, man. Because you actually do shit. Well, tell me about this summit thing. Well, why would I not? If I don't do it, I'm suspect. You know what I mean? Why would I get in the way of that? Are you kidding me? I love that shit. Yeah. I'm disappointed you didn't tell me about this thing today, man. You know what I mean? You should have invited me, man. Yeah, it's all good though.
It's happened. No, it's happening this summer. So I'm organizing for it's a March for Medicare for All. You might have seen the Twitter account. It's M4 all, the number 4. So yeah, that one's floating around. We're just kicking this off. We just built out the website. Still working on the website even. We have a Facebook and a Twitter. We're working on logistics now, approaching organizations now. But essentially, we're going to do a march in Washington, D.C. on July 24th this summer. And we're going to set it up. We're working on all the logistics now. But we're going to set it up so people can do their own thing locally. Yeah. So we're going to have a nationwide, protest.
I've done a lot of events. I did a free concert in Union Square Park. I've been a DJ I've done a lot of events. I don't know if did you see the one where I did it at the July 11th event at the Schumer's home?
Oh no.
No? I'll send that to you. Yeah. You could see I just repel the cops really easily. You know what I mean? I have a lot of experience with dealing with that. So, you know what I mean? Don't you want someone who has 20 years in the game dealing with cops like on your side with you at the event? You know what I mean? Ready to go? Or, you know what I mean? Do you want to take your chance with, some newbie who's a celebrity who hasn't really, whatever. Yeah. So either way, man. But that's fucking super exciting now. So now you're starting to take a more hands-on approach. And by the way, I really want to focus more on you, so I'll make this the last. I'll try to make this the last thing I say, right? But actually, my strategy is a little bit different from yours. I actually enter all the groups because I want to know all the personnel. I want to know who's involved, and also, right? A lot of times, the controlled opposition sets themselves into the leadership, but that doesn't mean that there's someone like yourself out there who's lost in DSA. Like, right, you said you were lost in MPP, you know what I mean? And you feel like you need a place. I'm there looking for all of them, you know what I mean? I'm ready to get them together and bring them. You know what I mean? But all the voices, all the leadership, right, they know it may even be controlled, yeah? Or they may even be coordinated, and they're telling, right, yeah, Yang Gang and MPP coordinated right now to kick me out. They may be establishment ties. There's a lot of uncomfortable ties to the Democratic establishment within both those groups.
You want to talk about Yang? That's our problem right now, right here in New York.
It's real urgent, and we could really use the help of a lot of these other progressive YouTubers. It's fucking urgent. Yeah, he's going to become the cop of Wall Street. What the Yeah, let's talk about it. So what's up, man? Now, some of your takes on Yang, I'm not sure I'm 100% on, but definitely there's some real problems going on. Yeah? You said Yang wants to get rid of all the jobs. What does that mean?
I do think Yang wants to get rid of jobs. I mean, he's the smart city guy. He's going to come in here. He's going to push for, a technology overhaul. There's not going to be serving jobs. There's not going to be taxi jobs. There's not going to be it's going to be very different. If that's the New York you want, maybe that's what you want. But that's what he's pushing for. Like self-driving cars, it has to be like one of his top priorities. He's not going to say that, but that's going to be like one of his top priorities. So where do the jobs go? We're not going to have as many jobs. That's the future. This is like the first big test bed in America for a smart city. And if you don't know what a smart city is, look it up. It's wild. There's a lot of things that New York does not have and is not ready for.
And actually, I'm glad that you bring that because you're right. Yeah, the thing is that even on the surface, right? Yeah, what he says might not be that. When you look at the implementation, it becomes something different. So it's very important, right? Yeah, a lot of people want to get focused all on policy, but implementation is huge. And actually, you're right in that implementation style that you're talking about. Yes, it does end up becoming that. You got to be very careful. A lot of people who are new to policy can easily get sidetracked or not really know. I have seen these things go through, and I have seen what the results of what happens, and it is horrible. And sometimes it's even used to hurt the people it was intended to help, such as affordable housing. You'll see me actually address that in several videos. Yeah, what happens is that they priced it out of, it's called affordable housing, but it's really not. It's above
for middle class people.
Yeah, it really is.
Affordable housing for middle class people.
Yeah, exactly. So it's yeah, and high and middle class people too. As far as I'm concerned. So yeah, it's some real weird stuff. Yeah. So as in terms of Yang, though, one of my biggest problems is that he does not talk to people like you and me, right? Yeah. You could be wrong, but as long as we get to be part of the process, right, as long as we can have a dialogue, we have a chance to shape the future. But you could see that all he talks for is his celebrities who already MPP, right? It's cool that you guys are seeing that, right? Yeah. Celebrities don't know what the hell is going on. These pundits don't know what's going on, yeah? So that's all Yang talks to, yeah? I challenge Yang to talk to any community organizer like myself. Well, do it, yeah.
Big red flag, man. Big red flag. There are a lot of panels going on right now with mayoral candidates. And you'll see Maya and Diane and Scott and Eric, all these guys, they show up, they talk to who, whatever organization is hosting this thing. Where's Yang? Yang is never at these panels. All the leading Democrats besides Yang are there. And Andrew Yang is never there. He's doing his own thing because he's got this PR machine. He's got the most followers on social. He's got the most followers on YouTube.
And we really need to get the burning forces out right now. I tell you something, like I did a lot of support for Yang back, you know what I mean? Before, but the thing is that as the campaign developed, I could see that he completely sold out. And the thing is that it's a huge problem and it's very dangerous. We need to get Burning World activated and make sure that Yang, because he keeps saying that he's winning. I'm not sure that Burning World is really understanding of how problematic Yang is for, let's take a look at some other things, right? First of all, he unilaterally supports Israel, right? Yeah. The thing is that, right, Palestinian people are suffering and he's just choosing the people in power. You can already see him making this decision. Yeah. What else?
Well, like also this smart cities grant that New York City is getting.
Yeah.
They're in that contract or in that grant. There are contracts for Israeli companies, so it's built in. It's almost as if they knew Andrew Yang was going to be fucking mayor because last year they pushed this grant that has these Israeli contracts, and it's all about tech. And this tech is literally going to require this basic income, right, that he's pushing. This all goes hand in hand. This is not a coincidence, in my opinion.
And you're absolutely right.
And then Yang's running this year.
Why is the mainstream media, right, completely backing Yang? Because they've been paid to do so.
I believe it.
You know what I mean? Yeah. This should be a real concern, yeah, when you can see the lack of discussion, but most people are just casuals, not paying attention, and yikes, yeah, we're going to get effed so hard. It's not good, yeah?
Right. So, and you could tell, he does these photo ops now, right? He does these like, come meet Yang on the street. He's out there with the people, kind of like Hillary Clinton did when she was trying to ride the subway. He did the same thing, messed that up. It's a joke, And I sat there and watched him. I went to Columbus Circle the other day when he was like meeting people. And he, when you are taking a photo with him, which means you're giving him free publicity because you're taking a photo, you're sharing it on social with the hashtag. Right. So for free, he's getting himself promoted, right?
Right.
So when you're doing that for him, he's, oh, buddy, he's bumping elbows, COVID elbows. Yeah, bro. He does the bro thing. Yeah. He thinks he's a bro. He's not very good at it, but he thinks he's a bro. He's like, yeah, bro. Yeah.
It's so fake.
It's so fake. Thank you. And he goes, yeah, bro. He's like, yeah, everyone's buddy. And then as soon as I asked him about, do you envision New York as a smart city? He's like, yeah, I wrote a book on it. So it's like, he's elitist. He's rich. He's arrogant. He's fake. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. This plus he's admittedly capitalist. So this BI is not a socialist move. This is a capitalist basic income, which to me means just like some kind of weird welfare that's not even as good as what we have now. Maybe it's
Yeah.
very unclear to me how this is all going to work.
Yeah. Actually, what I think would be really awesome with, I want to do this with Ricky right now. Let's try to have a panel. I want to do this in partnership with you. Yeah, I'm not here to be the king of this shit. I want to make new leaders. That's why I'm very excited about developing you. You know what I mean? Like, the movement, I can be taken out at any time. Anybody can be taken out at any time. We must have a broad base of many qualified people who know what they're doing. Right now, you're obviously picking up things super quick. I'm so excited. How can you, from your perspective, right? Yeah, what, how can we bring in more people into the fold and make them activists like yourself?
Ooh, that is a great question. There's a lot of lost people. I mean, online is a great place to find people, and you'll see them moving into movements like Force the Vote. It attracted 1,900 people into a Slack. That's not nothing. 1,900 people. If you can mobilize those people and get them out there doing things, that's huge. But the thing is, they fall into these traps, right? They fall into these things that are hot for a moment, and then like they become stagnant. So
You've also heard of the thing of there's like a psychological effect called when a bunch of people see something wrong, yeah, but there's a bunch of people around them, they don't do anything. It's called a bystander effect. Yeah, you know what I mean? Oh, someone else is gonna do something. I never believed in myself. I'm always, bam, in there, right? I'm the first one in, I'm on the way charging in. Yeah.
You're an anomaly, though. You really are.
Hmm.
You're an outlier, to be honest. Most people will just be like, what? That's
Because they don't know enough. Yeah. Actually, there was an interview that I had with someone who actually was in a Bloodless. That's the ideal Bloodless socialist revolution in Grenada. And he said that really the thing is that the people have been duped and they do not have political education. So they're too busy like following commercialist ideals and, this kind of fake ass bro, you know what I mean? Elbow thing instead of talking about things that really matter. Actually, that's what I talked about doing in partnership with you. Right now we have this discussion on smart city, which is kind of like elevated, which I really enjoy, right? Your depth of understanding, right? And talk about this Israeli tie. Let's see if we can get other mayoral candidates in the room, yeah, and start talking about this and really push this issue so we can really examine it. You know what I mean? Because I think that they're kind of pandering to certain interest groups and covering topics that are not really this deep. You know what I mean?
Yeah, some of these like activist mayoral candidates, the ones that are actually really working with their communities that don't get the press, they need to be saying stuff about Yang. Like, I don't know how they're gonna do these cute. They're so diplomatic. That's the problem I have with these mayoral candidates. They're all like so diplomatic. You need to start coming for Yang. He's at the top. He's supposed to be 10 points ahead, having done nothing for New York, right? He's 10 points ahead. He's done nothing. You're the one out there in the like Diane. Like, she was on the protest on the bridges the other day. Like she's out there. Where is she? She needs to be calling people out. Like, I don't understand. Like, is the fix in? Are they all just gonna like let Yang roll to the victory? I don't know, man. But
it's really disappointing. Yeah. In fact,
it's weird.
and that's exactly why it's so good that we should have this discussion so we can notice these things and talk about these things, because it is weird. You're goddamn right. I've actually tweeted at them and say, do you guys even want to fucking win? You know what I mean? Like, I have all these issues that I'm bringing up. Can we talk about them, please? Let's tweet tonight. Well, you'll see tonight. We'll tweet about, well, I'm actually banned from Twitter for the other day, yeah? But
oh no, they got you.
They got me. It happens, yeah. Look, yo, but I'm tweeting up tomorrow. We're gonna tweet all the mayoral candidates and be like, yo, we want to talk about the smart cities thing, and you watch to see if they actually, right, yeah, want to have discussion on this. You watch, yeah. I'm also gonna try to get other community groups like 700 Strong and stuff like involved in that conversation, so we can maybe put a little bit of political juice into that, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, as in terms of right, your evolution and becoming more involved, which is fucking amazing, yeah. How has your perspective changed?
How has my perspective changed? Well, this is much harder than I could ever have imagined, I guess. I mean, I guess I knew it was hard because, this country's been headed in the wrong direction my entire life, in my opinion. But yeah, there really is, it really seems like just when you think you got it figured out or you have some kind of momentum, it kind of dies or gets snatched away from you. That's kind of what I've learned. There's so many things that seem like, this seems like such a movement and then it dies. And it's, it's just really hard to keep the momentum. I think
I've seen it happen many times. Yeah. Did you know about my project with the MPP to have like a separate vote for like a president and vice president?
No, not really. That was
Oh yeah.
before my time. That was before
Okay.
my time. I was really
Okay.
involved like in the fall when there was actually hub meetings. You were already gone, I think. I think they'd already phased you out or something because
Yeah.
you just
Okay.
weren't around.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's like, that really provides a real alternative and would give MPP real, we would display our electoral power and our voting, and we would already be engaged in things that we have successfully done together. You know what I mean? That would be great. So we could still do that, right? We could still get together with all the different groups. There's no reason why, right? Nick Bonner could tell them not to do it. We could reach out to Seattle. We could reach out to, right, and say, look, we're going to move together as a unit. It doesn't matter what Nick Bonner says, right? We are here to make a third party because honestly, the Democrats, right, which I agree with you, are controlled opposition. But we have to be also aware that controlled opposition will flare its head within this group as well. It's happened in the Green Party. So many other groups have been International Socialist Organization. They actually, if you look up the history, they went down on the same sex fucking elitism bullshit that like happens to all the rest of them. You know what I mean? Look, it's a very common thing and it happens all the time. So there will be no perfect system. We always have to maintain it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the perspective shift, that's cool. Now, sometimes some of us have like a certain person that we look up to, right? As in terms of like, for me, like I'm really a big fan of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. Yeah. You could choose anybody you want, but do you have a certain person that you look up to as in terms of like, how you shape your thoughts and all that?
That's a good one. Not just one person.
Okay.
I mean,
You could pick a
those are some
couple. You could pick a bunch. Yeah.
I mean, those are some great ones. I'm more of a Malcolm X kind of person.
Okay. Why though?
I like Martin. I feel like he's a great orator. He's a great orator, but he wasn't willing to go all the way. I feel like he's the one that kind of bumped elbows with all the guys. He was kind of like the face. I feel like Malcolm X, he knew what it actually took to make real change, and it's really putting fear in the people making decisions. And I don't think Martin Luther King Jr. put fear in the people that made decisions. I think he was great and he was important, and he pulled a lot of people in. And
Yeah.
I mean, recruitment is actually a huge part of this too. So it takes a Martin Luther King Jr. and it takes a Malcolm X. But at the end of the day, the person who's going to get shit done, gun to your head,
Okay.
who are you going to choose? For me, it's going to be Malcolm X.
That's cool. I know some people. Yeah.
That kind of ideology is going to get shit done.
I know some people might have different opinions on that, but that's cool. But really, this question is really to understand your values, to understand, right? Yeah, what particular values that you see in others that you would probably try to emulate. So we know that somewhere inside of Ricky, there's a little Malcolm X ready to bust out and go wild. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. All right. So, the thing is, in your time of activism that you've been around, yeah, what have you like? There's people who's watching this who are also right. Taking Action Group is really here to grow activists. And they may be wondering what are some of the most effective things that you've seen or been able to participate in. How can people who are watching they want to become activists? How can they be effective? You got any tips?
How can they be effective? How can they be effective? I mean, isn't that a hard question? Isn't that the question? How can you be an effective activist? That is like, because even when you're being effective, you don't know that you're being effective. You don't really trust that you're actually being effective. It's like the game always changes. As soon as you think you've done something, like the goalposts are moved and you have to keep going and keep doing more, right?
Okay.
Until you win, right? Like, I haven't got a big win yet. We'll put it this way. I haven't got a big win yet. If I get that Medicare for all, and we are gonna cause a ruckus until we get this Medicare for all. Yes. If we actually get justice for people, we're not getting justice for people. It's been how many years do we have to protest? It's like the things that
Yeah.
Julian Assange is not even free. Like all the things that I've been protesting for the last few years, like maybe we've made progress, but Jesus, it seems like it's not enough. It's never enough. There hasn't been a big win in a long time, to be honest, in this kind of space, in my opinion. So I don't know.
Yeah.
You've been around a little bit longer, so maybe you've actually seen some big wins, but in my opinion, we haven't had big wins. And so to be effective, I mean, I think number one, you got to get out there. You got to get off the internet. You got to get out there. You got to find like-minded people, so you can work together on something.
Yeah.
You got to get out there. You really do.
I'll give you some warnings right now. Yeah.
Sure.
So the thing is that like some of the things that I had like the most successful in, what happens is that unfortunately once I've been in like leadership positions, if you're really good leadership, what can happen is that what can happen to the people under you get reliant on your work, and then they become complacent, and then they stop working. You get what I mean? That's one danger. Another danger is that when these groups, you were saying, when I do my activist training, right? Like I talk about the danger of NDAs, things like that, yeah. But who's paying attention, right? One of the big reasons why, like unfortunately, right, sometimes people who have their own agendas at hand, or people who want to come up in the game, and that's a lot of times why business wins, you know what I mean? Because they have the money to keep going after that interest, or they have something to lose, right? Yeah, you're going to lose your health care, yeah, you're going to lose your stuff, but it's not immediate right now. But the company says, oh, we can make $10 million off of this crooked little contract deal. Yo, I'm going to put in $2 million, I'm going to invest $2 million right now, you know what I mean? You got... right? But it's harder for me to ask you to kick up to fight against that 2 mil, you know what I mean, that they putting up, you know what I mean? Because they're going to scooch out with 8 mil on the plus side. So a lot of times these people, they learn, right? Here's one horrible example of what happened at Hunter College, right? Not just the corruption that I found. But the thing is that I told them about referendums. I said we can make a referendum to actually determine how the money goes, right? Yeah. We just weren't organized enough. There was a lot of infighting, people trying to take me out. You know how this goes. You've seen it already happen before. It's the common story. It's something I always go through. How much is controlled? How much is just people that want to be the star themselves? It's a lot of that, yeah? Anyways, whatever. So that happens. After I'm gone, right, yeah, they have a fucking referendum to get rid of the disability fucking, there was a separate room that was set aside for people with disabilities to like make special printouts for them and stuff like that. They cut all those programs using the fucking referendum. So the thing is that when you pass out this knowledge and stuff, who's grabbing that knowledge and running with it? Unfortunately, not people like you, Ricky, who I've been looking for a long ass fucking time, or other people, you know what I mean? A lot of times people want to just put their own control on it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, yikes.
Yep.
But
yeah, man. Yeah, you just gotta do it.
Yeah, but you know, we can win if we stay in. We can win if we stay in. Do not fucking leave this activist shit. You know what I mean? Stay in this shit. You know what I mean? They will quit. They'll go on to another job. We'll still be here grinding. They can't fucking stop us. You know what I mean?
No,
that's how we win.
I've got a bullhorn ready to go. I've got a camera ready to go. Let's go.
Let's go. Stuff. Thank God. Yeah. Thank God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, look, it's a crazy situation right now. COVID, you know what I mean? The economy's falling apart, you know what I mean? What's your take on the current situation?
What's my take on the current situation? It's bleak. It is bleak. I mean, it's bad. They've in my opinion, they've intentionally pounded people to the ground during this pandemic, right? This pandemic that they've made worse than it actually was. Not every country is, on these partial lockdowns. Everything's kind of open, kind of not. No. Like the countries that really wanted to squash this squashed it months ago. They're chilling right now. They're living life like normal. There are countries that are literally normal right now. So what happened here was, in my opinion, a big plan. How you gonna make New York a smart city if everything's old and in operation? Oh, you squash the economy. 92% of restaurants couldn't pay their rent in full in December. 92%. So guess what's going to happen? These mortgages aren't going to get paid. Rent's not going to get paid. Mortgages aren't going to get paid. People are going to default, right? Guess who's going to swoop in? Major corporations are going to swoop in. That's how you transform a city into a smart city. All of a sudden, poor people don't own shit. They already don't own shit. They're really not going to own shit,
Yeah.
In the near future. Like we're seeing a huge transfer of wealth and property to the rich people, and people don't even know. And why they don't know is because they have all this Dr. Fauci bullshit on TV where he's like, oh, maybe you wear one mask, maybe you wear two masks. I don't know how many masks you wear, but listen to me because I know science, and it's all a bunch of bullshit, right?
And he's lied several times, and everybody knows this, and
people are still like praising him, and I'm like, what are you praising? Lies? I don't get it. You were so mad that Trump lied, but now you're not mad that Fauci lied. I'm confused. And then right after that hit, George Floyd hit, and you know why George Floyd blew up? Because mainstream media put it all over the place, and that was intentional. It wasn't like, oh, let's pick this one story. This shit happens all the fucking time. So mainstream media chose the exact timing. Someone told them or paid them to choose this guy at this time to blow the story up, because there was Breonna Taylor was already dead.
Yeah.
Where was her story? She became popular after George Floyd. Really? in my opinion, that's when she really blew up, right?
Yeah.
So George Floyd was blown up on purpose. We were a few months in, people were getting a little restless. That was the time where they were transferring all the wealth from the poor people to the rich people via the CARES Act that the House Democrats passed via voice vote. So there's no actual written record of it, right?
Yeah.
So they literally robbed the working class, and then they're like, "Oh, go protest for black people." So they're using these poor black people that are getting slaughtered
Yeah.
to distract you from the fact that they're also pickpocketing you.
Yeah. They're
So, and
controlling the
don't ever get it
message.
twisted. Don't
Yeah.
ever get it twisted. When they blow up a story like George Floyd, that's on purpose. That's
Yeah.
not like they don't feel fucking bad. There's been dozens of George Floyds since fucking George Floyd. They don't give a shit about George Floyd.
I'm super aware of this because as an Asian American man, I see the amount of racism that I have to endure on a daily basis, and nobody cares about it. It's not about politics. It's not about fighting racism. It's about getting political control, and it's about pandering to black people so you can gain political control of their votes. That's all it is. Yeah, it's nothing to do with racism. They kid themselves that that's the case, but deep down inside they know. I've been in this game too long. They do know, right? Yeah, right. They promote Fauci because they're taken care of, and they understand that that they're considered to be people, and the other right they're not they're better than the little people who deserve all the crap. Yeah, and they're too stupid. They don't deserve the truth because they're too dumb to have the truth. Look. So you obviously outlined the problem, right? So what's your plans for the future?
Plans for the future? Well, I am doing weekly meetings with my team for the March for Medicare for All. That is a huge endeavor, and we have a lot of work to do before July.
I could probably help out a lot with that. I don't know if I'm. Let me tell you some things right off the top of my head because I'm probably not invited because I know what the reasons are. Yeah, but here's some of the things right now. You could the bus, right? There's a bus that's cheap down to the thing. You guys could organize that. I could even make a website. You guys could start a forum board. Yeah, I have actually my websites are going to be coming online soon. Also, one of the most powerful things that you can do, really, which Force the Vote was robbed of, was the is the mailing list. Yeah, contacting people, and they accuse me of stealing data. I'm the first dude out there fighting against Biden. Putting more. So they're accusing me of data theft. It doesn't even make sense. But honestly, right, they're kind of stealing the data because honestly, your Medicare for All would be greatly helped by the Force the Vote. So keep working your angle with Hinkle. Maybe he can get in there, and get something happening there. But I am definitely persona non grata. I am definitely the second you fuck with me, you'll be a marked man. You already fuck with me a little too much, but
Yeah, the cool thing about what we're doing is there's going to be something for everyone. We have our core group that's doing the main organizing, and most of these people aren't even from New York. And then there's going to be a steering committee that is, figuring out the real logistics on the ground in Washington, D.C. But then we're also going to have people. We're going to encourage people to do their local protests, and that could be however they want. But we're gonna say car caravans are great because we're in a pandemic. Those are great. And
coordination is key, right? Yeah. What happens if Convo Couch agrees to have a simulcast from LA and we have a simulcast in New York and let's link them all together? Exactly. I'm completely with that. I am ready. I've been trying to make other things like that happen. Yeah.
We also want to do a media day on Friday to promote the Saturday events around the country. So we're going to have everyone in, indie media hopefully on board to do whatever they want to do for Medicare for All and to promote, our weekend. They can have interviews if they want. They can just give us a shout out if they want. I don't care. As long as they're mentioning this thing and getting people excited, maybe dropping our hashtag or whatever. So we're planning all that right now. We're going to reach out to all the indie outlets at some point.
I got a lot of emails, man. I got a lot of contacts, bro. I'm a serious resource, whether you know it or not.
Yeah, well, you got your YouTube
I got I got a lot of email addresses for a lot of these shows. I got, mainstream media press as well, yeah? But, look, I'm going to say once again to everybody who's watching, I'm a fucking fan of this guy. This is my man, Ricky, you know what I mean? He's one of the few that's actually out here on the ground fucking doing the work, and I really see big things possibly coming out of this guy. You know what I mean? Just stay in there. You know what I mean? You cannot fail, bro. You know what I mean? You are definitely possibly the voice of the future. I'm super excited to work with you. Thank you for your time. Yeah. Wait. So let's share all your stuff with the people. How can they follow you? You on Twitter? You on YouTube? You better keep making them YouTube videos, man. Yeah. So go ahead, share all your stuff.
I gotta get the YouTube game going. I really do. But yeah, you can find me on YouTube, Ricky Rants, all one word. The I is an exclamation point. So Ricky Rants with an exclamation point. I'm also on Twitter as Ricky Rants, but my handle is SLIKRIK 2003.
Okay,
Slicker 2003.
the link will be below, you know what I mean? And, honestly, we both from New York, so if you're following me, I'm definitely 100% sure we're going to be, bouncing off of each other because this guy hasn't closed the door to me, which I definitely appreciate, and I'm all about getting shit done. Boom, yeah? So this here, I'm fucking honored. Thank you so much for coming on the stream, on my interview tonight. This is super excited to meet you. Thanks again. I'm honored to have you here. Thank you.
Thanks, Dad.
All right.
It's a dark day in our nation when high-level authorities will seek to use every method to silence dissent. The truth must be told.
And if you want the truth, you need to check out independent media producers just like myself, DJ L7. You should subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notifications when I release a new video.
Truth of these
We are
words
on all
is
the major
beyond
platforms.
doubt.
That includes Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course YouTube. Unfortunately, we have definitely seen that these mainstream outlets will cave to corporate interests, so we encourage you to join our independently moderated communities of Reddit and Discord. We also encourage you to subscribe to us on BitChute and Dailymotion so you can see the content that YouTube doesn't want us to let you see. Hey, now it's time for the most important part of the video. That's right. It's time for us to tell you about the Taking Action Group. Do you need an activist? Or maybe there's no activists around willing to help you with your cause and you need to learn to become an activist. That's exactly why we're here. Every week we get up with people from across the nation, in fact even sometimes internationally, and we develop strategies and a game plan to address the issues that are affecting all of us. Every week myself from New York City and of course my co-host Lisa from Los Angeles provide a coast-to-coast perspective on what's going on in the country. If you want to donate to help out with expenses, travel, equipment, stuff like that, then I definitely appreciate it, and you can hit us off at Venmo or PayPal. Thanks a lot. Hey, by the way, we also have a merch store, so check it out. Oh my goodness, it seems like you've reached the end of the video, so make sure you check out some of our other videos, make sure you subscribe. This is your last chance to do so thanks a lot, and looking forward to seeing you on the next one. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please comment below if you have any questions or issues you'd like me to address. And if you're an activist, the time to make things happen is now.